Hello and welcome to Long's Toys. Today I have a Transformer review for you. This is Combiner Wars Warrior Class DragStrip. Very cool in the packaging here. As you can see, he is part 1 of 5 for Menasor. Even though it does show Superion up here, it does say Menasor on the side. And on the back it also shows Superion, but obviously he's one of the Stunticons. Robot mode, alt mode, very cool. We'll go ahead and get him out of the packaging and take a closer look. Real quick, here's a look at the artwork on the card once you get the bubble off. And again, it does come with a trading card. Although I think it's interesting to note that the design of DragStrip's head and the trading card is more G1-esque as opposed to the visor and head sculpt we have here. Even the whole design of DragStrip is more G1-esque on the card. But I believe they're reusing images from this card game app that they had, a Transformers Universe trading card game. And it might even be IDW artwork. So I believe that's what they're reusing. But I think it's pretty cool. So out of the packaging here, I think DragStrip looks really well done. Unfortunately, you do see a lot of screw holes, but it's not a huge deal. Just would have been nice if they could have covered them up. But he's got a really nice sharp Decepticon symbol here on his shoulder. I'll zoom in so we can get a closer look at his head sculpt. I think it's pretty well done. It's definitely not the same as his G1 counterpart. But it's got kind of a cool look here where the visor kind of has like drips down that kind of almost look like fangs or something. But I really like the powder blue color they used as well. I think it's a nice look for the face. I really like this Decepticon symbol. It is not a sticker, that is painted. So it looks pretty great. Articulation-wise, his head is on a ball joint. He's got kind of an up and down swivel here in the shoulder and then a ball joint in the shoulder of the arm. So he can move up and down and then also around. He's got a swivel right underneath there where the yellow meets the dark red. He's got a 90-degree here at the elbow. The hand can kind of swivel to the side, but only because of the transformation. He does have waist articulation. He's got a ball joint here in the hip, swivel underneath that, and then 90 degrees at the knee. So pretty much the articulation you'd expect from a figure this size, and he does look pretty great. Here he is from the back. The really only car kibble you see is the kind of front part of his Indy car, but it's not that big a deal. It's not too much weight on his back, and I think it looks pretty good. You can get some good poses out of him. So yeah, I think he looks pretty great. He does come with 2 accessories. He's got this little purple gun slash sword. I feel like it's trying to be a sword and it's trying to be a gun, and it doesn't really succeed at being either. I would rather he had just come with a really large sword or just a cool gun instead of this item that's trying to be both. I mean, I think it looks best as a gun, but as a sword, it's a dagger at best. I don't know. I just would have preferred they commit to one or the other. His other item is the Combiner Wars hand that can also become the foot by turning this around, folding this in. So, standard connector piece that's been coming with all of these. This one's in purple to fit his Decepticon motif. And as with all the others, he can hold it in his hand if you'd like. And he can hold this gun slash sword either in his hand like this as a sword, or you can flip it around and he can hold it as a gun. So it looks alright in both modes, but nothing spectacular. So DragStrip's transformation is fairly simplistic, but I think it's pretty good. You're going to start by just straightening out the arms, and then you can fold in the hands into the arm like that. Just rotate that 80 degrees. Come down here and push his 2 legs together, and you'll hear them snap pretty tightly. Then you're going to turn this around 180 degrees at the waist, and then you're just going to push the whole feet section up, and then just make sure you line it up there. And it will snap into place. You can kind of lift this section up if it's in your way when you're snapping it in there, just to make sure. Then you're just going to push these down and bring them in flush. Make sure You have the clearance here of this overhang. Just pop that in. Now you can turn the head around 180 degrees if you want. The directions say to, but honestly you don't have to, because unless you're looking at the underside of the vehicle. You spin this 180 degrees and then you just bring it down. So like I said, you could leave the head if you wanted, it doesn't really matter. But there you go. You have his IndyCar mode. So I think the Indy mode looks great. I think both colors are very well represented here. I really like the Decepticon symbol, nice and sharp, and that is paint, not a sticker. I kind of wish the spoiler was a little bit longer, but other than that, I think it's pretty, they did a good job. I like the silver detailing here, and also in the back. So like I said, the paint has been really sharp on these. And it's the first one we've taken a look at where you don't really see the entire robot mode underneath. The head's pretty well hidden. The arms and legs, you know, look like part of the car. So I think that's pretty cool. Now it does have these two holes, one on each side, that you can store the weapons in. But unfortunately, because the handle of this gun is kind of at a 45-degree angle, if you try to plug it in as a gun, it kind of sticks off to the side. If you decide to use it as a sword, then he's just straight clotheslining people, which I guess could be cool, just trip them up. So it's alright, but again, I think the weapon's a little awkward. You could try to connect this, but unfortunately because of how thick it is, it would kind of keep him off the ground if you tried to connect that in. So I think just this classic look looks pretty good, and I don't bother to try to attach the weapons. As far as the foot transformation, DragStrips is very easy. You literally just spin this part around like you're transforming in the robot mode and pop the foot on the bottom. Now the only difference is, as we saw with Skydive and Firefly, the head was connected to this piece and the whole thing would just turn 180 degrees. This is actually completely separate and his head just rocks back. So normally the head is like this and then you just rotate it forward and then you just push this piece out, which is a little difficult but not too bad. And then there you go. There he is as a foot. Another thing to note real quick, actually, if you're going to use him as a foot for Superion, sorry, losing his name there for a second, there might be a bit of a height discrepancy, but you can actually rotate this whole bottom section up a little bit, and it's a little difficult to do because you have to make sure you grab it from underneath. But as you can see, you can actually lift that up and then attach the foot down here. So the directions don't really show that, but it's good to know because depending on who you're connecting him to, I assume when you connect him to Menasor, you'll probably use the standard where you just keep this down and just connect this, because it seems like the Stunticons are going to be a little taller, but if you're going to use him for Superion, you might need to flip that section up so he's the same size foot as one of the aerial bots. So something to keep in mind. When transforming him into an arm, it's pretty much what you'd expect. You start with robot mode, keep the legs together, plug the hand in, and spin the waist 90 degrees. Pop this out, and leave this transformed like robot mode with the head back. But I want to show you how the arms go real quick. You're basically going to put them up in the sky. And then you'll see there's a little notch on each side right there. And that's where the tip of the shoulder is going to go into. So you just kind of bring this down and line that up on both sides. And then once you have that in place, you're just going to spin these around and then bring it down just to kind of, you know, keep it in place. It's kind of a nice little placeholder. So there you go. Then you just kind of fold those down like that. And then he is ready to become an arm. So I think DragStrip is another fine addition to the Combiner Wars line. I'm really enjoying this line so far. I haven't had really too much to complain about with any of the figures. I've always wanted updated versions of the G1 Gestalt teams, so it's really cool to finally get these. I think he looks great in both robot and vehicle mode. The only complaint I have is his kind of sword gun weapon, but it's such a minor complaint. I mean, it's not a big deal. This figure is pretty excellent. I highly recommend him. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. Please let me know in the comments below. Please like and share this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you'd like to check out my Facebook and Twitter, there'll be links for them in the description below. So I hope you've enjoyed this look at Combiner Wars, Warrior Class, or Deluxe DragStrip, and thanks for watching.